Coach Vigen, two things. Compare last week's game with the progress they made this week, and then talk about the progress of Justin Lamson.
Dang, that's a loaded question right there off the top. I don't know. I think each week's its own week, and we have to take on whoever's in front of us. The team we faced last year is probably better than this team, but that can't affect our ability to get better. So I thought we did a good job of seeing the good and the bad from last week, and really practicing hard and trying to work through that through the course of the week. This team beat a team last week that was ranked, so they're a solid outfit for sure. And we knew that we need to control the line of scrimmage, limit their ability to run the ball. Knew that we'd have to throw it a little bit more just because of how they wanted to load the box. And I think by and large that played out. I mean, it wasn't a perfect performance by any means, but we took a step forward. I think Justin, definitely took a step forward. I loved how he responded after that interception. Got another crack at the 2 minute, and that was mostly him in that drive. And we came out and scored a couple times with him at the helm in the second half. So, each of these experiences for him are really accumulating now. He hasn't been the regular quarterback until now. He's played quarterback, but now he's the regular quarterback. It's his job. The ebbs and flows will be part of it, and we're obviously behind him. And I think he took a good step today.
You mentioned it right there, but the 2 minute drill, I know it was a different scenario than the end of the South Dakota State game, but just I guess seeing Justin execute right at the end of the first half, I guess what did you see there?
Yeah, those situations we do practice, but they're so hard to truly replicate. With the rush, the situation, time on the clock, all that stuff, and yeah, to see him be able to get two opportunities, essentially, throw an interception after we got a first down. The first time the defense gave us another opportunity, and then to see that the offense go down the field, and that's significant because what happens in the middle eight, the last four of the first half and the beginning of the second half is so critical in our ability to win football games. And obviously when you're given those situations at the end of the game, those are beyond critical. So a step in the right direction as far as him running that drill.
And you mentioned middle eight as well. Just it kind of felt like once you guys got to that point, the offense was just really efficient as well. I guess just what you think of as you guys kind of ramped up to that moment and getting to Adam and Julius and Taco and everything.
Yeah, they were committed to stopping the run. I didn't love where we were at with our running back rushing game at halftime. So really challenged the group to let's come off the ball. And I know the result of it is we scored a couple times. I thought we came off the ball. Whether we're throwing the ball out there or not, in the RPO game, are we doing everything we can to impose our will? And I thought we did. We responded well on those first couple drives of the second half. I know Adam and Julius both got free a little bit there, and then Taco was able to do some things with some RPO plays. So that response was needed after halftime. It's not that we played bad or anything, but I felt like there was more we could do, and we did.
I think the chunk plays that they had, that Taco or that Adam and Julius had were more outside. Did you guys see anything that was maybe open more on the outside than the inside?
Yeah, I mean, getting outside, getting down the field, based on how they align is. You can't do it every play, but there are some opportunities out there. So I know we had a few design things to get ourselves on the perimeter. I know a few of the runs bounced that way. In particular, I think about Adam on the third and short. We were kind of backed up at the beginning of the second half, and those guys, getting them in the flow and getting them going hasn't been easy here these first couple games. That's a tandem that we're really going to lean on. So it was good to see them both have some success today.
And then Taco, just having him freed up a little bit more this week, what did you think went into?
Yeah, those opportunities are a product of them loading up. You got a choice to make, and we've talked about it. Our ability to force a defense to play the width of the field is different this year. Last year, the last few years, by and large, it was with Tommy, and Tommy being able to use his speed to really force that force the defense into that conflict. Now it can be done a little bit more with, spitting the ball out to Taco in particular. And he doesn't have to be the only one, but he's been the primary one. And when we can get him in space, he's a problem. I thought, last week we didn't really get him in space. We got him in space more this afternoon, and I like the results of that.
Coach, I don't know if it's like a change of philosophy, or is it just kind of the way the game flowed? But so often in the past, it's been the run game setting up the pass game. It almost seemed like today it was the pass game, and then all of a sudden that kind of set up some running lanes for you.
Yeah.
Is it a difference in philosophy, or just the way the game kind of
I think
flowed?
it's a function of how they play defense. They're packed in there, and if they have one more than we have, our ability to break out runs is going to be challenging. Now, we want to be able to be balanced for sure. So there is a philosophy there, but ultimately it's still to take what the defense gives you. And whether it's a run pass that ultimately we're coming off the ball like a run and it becomes a pass, that's still a run first thought, I guess. So we still have to establish the run game, but if a team is going to give us the perimeter and allow us to throw the ball out to our receivers, I think we're better equipped for that than we would have been the last few years. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Last week, you kind of mentioned how Justin's scrambling was kind of one of the most effective parts of your offense against South Dakota State. I guess, what do you think of just his decision making, whether to take it and run or
Yeah, I think if I'm correct, I know he's got 6 carries, must be a couple sacks in there, so let's call that 4. I think he was a little. I think he kept his eyes downfield. He made a couple passes without scrambling. I know he scrambled a few times. I know in that 2-minute drive, he obviously scrambled for the touchdown. So I think that's going to be a weapon, and that's a good weapon. But there's that fine line of, okay, can I keep my eyes downfield? When I do get out of pocket, can I get the ball in someone else's hands? So I think there was growth in that regard, and the fact that he, has just 6 carries, I think is a positive thing. Or 6, yeah, whatever. I can't see the sacks on this, but I think we had a few, 2 sacks. Yeah, there it is.
And defensively, just being able to really just shut them down on both sides, especially the run. Anything?
Yeah, no, I compliment our defense. That was a team that spread people out these first couple weeks, had some success running the football. They're running back at 50+ carries in these first 2 games, and we eliminated that part of their game. I know they got some yards as the game went along, but at halftime they really didn't have anything to speak of running wise, and really the effort was to make their quarterback as one-dimensional as we could. We did that and really made it hard on them. Another really good performance on 3rd down. They were 2 of 11. And if we can do that, win that 3rd down margin, we're going to be all right. But that's about a defense really playing together. So I think our growth the last couple weeks has been what we wanted. We're not done growing by any means. I know we got a bunch of guys in that game, which I think will be helpful. But I think we've made some strides on defense the last couple weeks.
I thought Patrick Duchesne looked pretty comfortable coming in off the bench.
Yeah.
How nice was it to have that lead and be able to actually get him out on the field?
Patrick held for us last year, but I don't think he got to snap a quarterback. So for him to get out there, because you never know, and Patrick won that backup job out of fall camp, and there's no way to replicate game experience. And I thought he handled things well. Had a couple opportunities to make a few throws. He's a good athlete. We really didn't get him running at all, but I thought he operated the offense like you want your backup quarterback to win a first opportunity like that.
Coach, coming into the season, one of the question marks was the secondary. Can you talk about the growth through 3 games so far?
Yeah, I think we're 3 games in. I told the team this. We're not a young team anymore. You get the experience that we've had. I think those guys are different players, and I think what you see is a group that now you get some games behind you. You've played against some really good people. There's a resiliency that comes along with that. Teams are going to complete passes. Ideally we don't let them get behind us. But I think the last 2 games that group has challenged more coverage. We've been more challenging in our coverage, and I think we have the athleticism to do that. I think we've tackled significantly better in the last 2 games in the secondary than we did in that first game. So I think real noticeable growth. We're going to be without Taki for a while, so the continued emergence of Bryant and JJ Dolan has been big. Getting some other guys in there. I think we're playing all 4 of those corners right now, so I don't think that was necessarily going to be how we were going to do it, but that's how it's worked out, and that's good. That's the more depth we have there. So progress. I think we need to keep pushing that entire group because obviously the better they play, the better our defense plays.
You guys only had to punt like twice today, but did you see any, whatever improvement?
Got them off.
Yeah.
We didn't get a punt block today. Broke our streak. No, we've worked real hard at that. I know it was a couple critical plays in those first 2 games. 2 blocks and a significant pressure. So, I think the first piece is we only had to punt twice. Punting I think 14 times those first couple games. I mean, that's not who we want to be. Might happen from time to time. We got to execute when we're out there. So I trust our execution on those 2 is what it was supposed to be, and we got an opportunity to build off that. And I think Colby's consistency, looking at the last quarter of the South Dakota State game and in this game, he's hit the balls that we expect him to. And his averages jumped up, and I do think he can ultimately become a real consistent weapon. I thought he kicked off real well today, and real pleased with his progress.
And just getting the first win and ending the little lose streak you had, just how do you feel? How did the team feel getting the first one of the season?
Well, I don't know. I think each week's its own week. I know we want to go 1-0 every week. Not getting too caught up in the fact that we hadn't won a game. We just need to win this game. And same thing will be our mindset going into this next game is our record is what our record is. How do we go 1-0 this week? And if you can live forward in that regard and not be, too caught up into what's on that loss column, because then you start. I talked about it at the beginning of the week, the urgency versus the panic. I think the more you think about your past, you're more liable to panic. The more you just say, okay, we got to keep getting better. How do we find a way to take a step forward? That's that 1-0 mentality that we need to live by. In this group, it's a lot of new guys figuring out what that means. So I appreciate, again, how we went to work this week and how we showed up at practice every day and got the progress through the week so we can come out and play the way we did to take a step forward.